Hello, everybody. Hope you're having an amazing Wednesday night. It's December the 12th. Can't believe the countdown and how fast it goes. This is 12 days of Gen Hacks, something I've never done before in my entire life. So, between my words, I have temporary moments of freak out. But I felt motivated to do it, and I actually have had a ball getting to do it so far. So I hope that something on my Gen Hack list is going to be something that can help you, no matter where you are. Not if you're necessarily homeschooling, weird, crunchy, oily mama of 13, but there might be something else that we have in common. So I hope that can help you. This is going to be short, quick, and a little tidbit of something that basically I use to help the Dumford tribe run. And I thought I would stick to health stuff or home stuff. I'm not super creative, so that's a little slimmer on my resume as a mom. And then the third area I thought I'd touch, and it's going to be part of what tonight is about, that is little sayings and you'd call them mantras, possibly, that have been important to me over the years, and how the tribe of Dumford has been going and how it's ran over at our place. So I hope some of these things, similar to what we're doing tonight, along the way to the countdown of 12 days to Christmas, will be a blessing big time to you all tonight. So what I'm wanting to touch on tonight is a phrase. It's not a health thing or a home thing, but it's a phrase that has been super important to me and Zoe as well. And I think we've said it probably a few hundred times in the past 23 years. I don't know, something like that. And I can't say how important it is to me. In fact, I believe I just said it to my friend at the bank tonight. So that's weird. I hadn't decided on what tonight was going to be yet, but I literally just talked about it. So here's what the phrase is. You can jot it down when I say it, or I'll be posting in the comments as I did last night. And that way you can grab the info for yourself. And so here's the quote. Children are a letter we write to a time we'll never see. Okay? Children are a letter we write to a time we'll never see. And I believe that I gathered a bit of that from another place that I cannot recall where it was at this moment. It's been a really long time ago that I picked that up. But I thought I would expound on that a little bit and how that has affected our philosophy and how we run our crew and what we think about them, basically. You know, we just didn't haul off and say, hey, hello, let's have 13 kids. This is something we'd like to do. It didn't really start out that way. It just started out with getting married and being crazy about a special guy. And from there, it came in baby steps. If you might be familiar with the song that I believe Mercy Me sings, don't quote me on that, but I think they sing It's a Slow Fade. And I feel like that song is talking about things that go south or things that turn into something negative. I believe that's how they meant it, as far as, you know, those things take time. But I want to look at it in a positive light. It's a slow fade into something huge and big and awesome too. It doesn't happen overnight. And sadly, where we live, our society, our economy, our people groups, our community, we just think like microwaves, you know, and great families don't happen from the microwave. Great families come from great tests, and it's crock pot, baby. You know, it's crock pot. It's a baby step after a baby step after a baby step. It's a hard spot after a awesome spot. And then it's another hard spot. And you think, oh my goodness, what was I thinking? And then it's a great spot and another great spot. And then it's a hard spot. And if I could say one thing I can guarantee you, if you're in a place, you're running a family, or even if you're running something else, everything is a family of sorts. If you're in that spot, those things aren't going to happen overnight. There's no microwave family. It just can't happen. And I think just knowing that, I'm speaking for me, of course, and just sharing with you my thoughts. And I know everybody has their bent and how they look at things. But for me, recognizing that it's not going to be easy, that there are hard things ahead, and that it's not going to happen overnight, that makes me feel better. Because the weird thing is, we can be having our hard time over here at our house, and we look at Mr. XYZ over there, and we automatically think, oh, it's easy for them. They have it easy. And guys, that's not true. Girls, that's not true. And I haven't lived long, but I have lived long enough to know that's crazy. It's similar to what we talked about. I believe it was on My Mama Monday, broadcast on Monday night, when we were talking about the house police and the dust bunnies under my fridge. That's on my feed right now if you want to go back and check it out. But something kind of terrible happened to me on Monday, and I talked about it. Who's the house police, people? I don't even know. But we do horrible things to ourselves, especially mamas. We do not need one more thing to feel guilty about. It's just there. It's just ready for the taking. So, all that to say, the phrase we're popping out there tonight for the quick 12 days of Jen Hacks, either a house, home, or mantra type thing that has helped run the Dunford Tribe, is children are a letter we write to a time we'll never see. Why is that important? Well, I have a little story for you. My grandmother and my grandma and my grandpa all were really special to me, and we're all wonderful grandparents, and had lots of good memories with all of them. Now, they all passed away within about 15 years of each other, and I watched my mom and dad do an amazing job of being the adult children that watched out for them and took care for everything they needed, took them everywhere, did the things they needed on a daily basis, helped them in those last moments, all the way to the very last moments. And something I noticed about that transition with my grandparents, they got to the place that they just simply didn't care about anything. They didn't care about anything. They just cared about the people in their life, the family. We say often, oh, well, family's most important, people are most important, but do we actually live like that? Well, when you're in the position that you're 75 and 80 and 85 and 90, you watch that just naturally happen. Suddenly my grandmother wants to move to a little apartment, and then suddenly she is in an assisted living, and so all of her possessions shrink again, and mom and dad, help her with all of that transition. And then she ended up needing lots more special care, and so then she was in a very special village type area where she really only had one little room. But she didn't care. She didn't care because she had lost the desire for any more of the stuff. And when we walked in to see her, well, that was her best day ever. In fact, the fun thing about when she got to that time of her life, I feel like she was even more connected to her grandchildren, in my case, her great-grandchildren. I have one daughter named Abigail, who at that time was, 6 or 7 years old. And for some reason, Miss Abigail, she touched my grandmother in some unique way. My grandmother, out of all my children, of course, has several. She loved Abby, and she would say, "Is Abby here?" And she didn't say it like she was favoring her, and nobody thought that. It just was a special thing that she had in the last few years of her life. And I loved that. I loved what happened with Abby, and Abby had it right back for her. And as we'd walk through this nursing center, there'd be several different people that they'd want to talk to this child or talk to this child. It's almost like they were saying, you actually know what's real and good about life right now. You're not to the point that you're grown up and you've, become somewhat jaded. I hate to say it that way, but you know how it is once you're adults and you're thinking about the things we're thinking about. It was almost like they were saying, okay, all you adults running around taking care of me, just pay attention to the little people. Okay, they've got this right. They hop in the van and they go, okay, well, are we ready to go? They don't wonder about gas, and they don't wonder about whether it's going to work when you turn the key. Yes, those things have to be taken care of. But as far as the attitude, so beautiful. It's something I love so much about my little ones. My little 2-year-old, and I will say this about every single one of our kids when they've been 2 or 3, it's my absolute favorite age. I think all of them have favorite moments, but I really love that age because they're talking to you at that point. They give such amazing hugs. They're fun. They're lighthearted. You know, they have that childlike innocence that is so beautiful. So that kind of feeds into the philosophy of the quote I was saying, children are a letter we write. Well, writing a letter is so important because, as I was mentioning with my grandmother, being in the sunset years that she had, and of course my other 2 grandparents, they knew that they weren't going to be here much longer. They knew they were in their final sunset. And you know what's crazy? At 45 or 35 or 25 or 55, we can run around like a chicken with our head cut off and not realize, you know what? We don't get to stay here forever, guys. We don't get to stay here forever. So why don't we write a letter? Why don't we write a letter to the time we'll never see? Well, that's why I love this quote. How you can do that? You can do that through your children. You can do that through your grandchildren, because what you plant into them, what you teach them, how you love them, how you train them, teach them, educate them, how you befriend them, the things that you give to them, they turn around and give to others. Okay? And that has fueled me and Lorenzo over the years, why we've cared so much about having our babies. And basically, we can only say up to about 22 years old. That's our only experience so far. Hannah's about to turn 23. But so far, for where we are, that has been a love for both of us that has fueled what we've done. Okay? We also like to think of our babies as assets and not liabilities. That has been twisted in our society too. And I'm not speaking really for the rest of the world, because I don't know the other cultures as well as what I'd call Western Hemisphere culture. But, you know, there's a lot of things we maintain. And I think I said this quite a lot. I might be repeating myself, but we maintain things and we start to view them as the asset instead of as the liability. The children are the asset, okay? They are not the liability. They are only the liability if they are unattended, if they're uncared for. A lot of times you'll hear someone say, oh, well, I think you're spoiling this child. Well, okay, wait a second. The only spoiled fruit on a tree is the fruit that falls to the ground. The spoiled fruit is falling to the ground. What about the well-tended fruit? What about the well-cared for fruit, the groomed and fed and watered and attended to fruit? That is the fruit that you want your children to be. You are basically holding something valuable in your hands. It could be your children, your grandchildren, and really it doesn't even have to be a little one that's actually even related to you. It could be your Sunday school class. It could be those that you teach if you're in a school situation. That is how you change a nation. That's how you change a society. That's why the positive, the upbeat, the loving, the good stuff that we get into our children, that's why it goes on forever. That's why it's so valuable. And I think that it has been something we've gotten away from in America. I think we've started to view children as liabilities. We haven't seen them as assets. And consequently, we know lots of sad stories about how children have been treated. We know lots of stories about things not happening as they should and not being attended to. And I hope, and I know Lorenzo hopes as well, that all of us, we know our little tiny part is hopefully that we can foster an attitude of, you know what, these little girls and guys are valuable. They're going to grow up. They're going to do something amazing and mighty. They're going to help change what they see that's not wrong or not right. They're gonna change those things that are wrong. They're gonna stand up for things that are good and fair. And then as we are those people who enter the sunset of our life, then we're going to be able to look back and go, okay, I'm at the end of my journey, but I've written a letter. I've written a letter through these children to a time that I won't ever see. So beautiful little philosophy, and something that's been really special to us over the 23 years of the Dunford fam. So that is really what I wanted to talk about tonight, and I wanted to make it really nice and short and quick. Remember, this is 12 days of Gen Hacks. Wanted to do that up until we're going to be going to the 22nd of December, since I'll get into some cool, fun Christmas chaos and craziness after that on the 23rd. But we'll continue this up until the 22nd, okay? And then, of course, I'll see you here Monday night for Mama Monday. And I really look forward to that. So something I want to say tonight before I wrap up the Gen Hack for day 2 is, if you have ideas or you have thoughts or you have a subject area you think it'd be fun for me to tackle, please tell me, please message me. I've had a few message me from some of the video stuff that I've done, and I would love to hear from you. And that would be a really cool gift if you would do that for me, if you have ideas or questions or anything fun like that. Okay, so tomorrow night, same time, same place, 9:30 p.m. here on Facebook, we'll do day 3 of the 12 days of Gen Hacks, and I hope you'll be here, hope you'll see me there, and hope you have an amazing day tomorrow. Thank you so much for showing up tonight. Loved being here, and we'll see you soon. Bye, guys. Well, maybe bye, guys.